Grab a brew and tune in to the High Ticket Review. In each episode, you'll get a rewind of the misses, makes, and definitely magic of live high-ticket sales calls from a veteran sales consultant, Will DeShazo, who has held more than 15,000 calls and trained multiple 8-figure companies, all while developing a simple winning framework to close your next call. From objection handling,
I'm gonna need to sleep on this,
to on-call close techniques, the High Ticket Review has you covered up in talk tracks that convert to dollars. Now, on to today's training.
Okay, today I am going to kick off this episode with you knowing that this is one of my favorite topics. And the reason I think it's one of my favorite topics is because this is unnoticed. Like, this is a silent killer for your discovery calls and potentially even in relationships. And I made this mistake driving home just today with my wife. Isn't that funny? Knowing I was going to host this and record this episode, I made this mistake today. This is words that quietly kill your credibility. And specifically what to say instead. As I sip my coffee, I'll never forget, this was I've had more than 13,000 sales conversations since 2017. And I think this call was 2019 or 2018. And the guy on the other end, please, as you're listening to this, raise your hand if you can relate. The guy on the other end throws out the old, "Hey, Will, shoot me straight. What's this going to cost?" Somewhere inside of my pitch, and he cuts me off mid-pitch. And I said something like, I don't recall exactly, but something along the lines of, "Hey, yeah, I'll be transparent. I'll be really honest with you. I'll tell you exactly how that works in here in just a little while. But first, let me please tell you about how it all works, what the program looks like." And he, smiled politely, but you could tell energy shifted. You could sense it. The warmth that was there was totally gone. And it felt like now we were like opposite sides of the table. We were sitting at opposite sides of the table. And I scheduled a follow-up with him. He was happy to do so, and he totally ghosted me. Never talked to this guy ever again. And I remember sitting there thinking, like, what happened? I didn't push. I didn't oversell. It took me months, and that's not actually true. It took me years to realize the mistake wasn't in my tone or my pricing or the questions that I asked. It was likely rooted back to one word, and probably overusing that one word, the word honest. You see, that's a filler word. It's a tiny, very innocent word, but it completely changed how this prospect felt about me. See, when you say honestly and you dive in, what the other person subconsciously hears, whether they know it or not, subconsciously hears is, "Oh, so wait, were you not being honest before?" Like, if you have to pause and tell me you're being honest now, were you not being honest earlier? And that's how one word can quietly, completely undo and wreck trust. So here's the thing. Most of us don't lose credibility in big ways. We don't angrily go off on our prospects on calls. We lose it, though, in micro phrases, little credibility fillers that sneak into our conversation, right? Language like "to be honest," as I said earlier, or "hey, just following up and checking in with you," or "hey, just to be fully transparent with you." Maybe something like, "hey, at the end of the day, here's what really," right? We think we're building connection with these phrases, but what our prospect actually hears is something like, "maybe this guy wasn't honest before. Maybe this guy doesn't know actually what to say next. Maybe this guy's a little nervous about how what he's saying is going to land with me." And here's what's wild. We use these types of words, this type of language, in the exact moments where we feel least confident. That's what fillers are. When there's tension or silence or vulnerability. And instead of leaning into the silence, we reach for these filler words that actually just discredit us. But here's the truth. You don't build trust in the performance or the narrative of your conversation. You build trust with your prospect from presence. And you see, in the framework that I train on, there are two core pillars: listening to what people are saying and tying back to the words that they have said, right? Listening isn't just hearing the words that are coming out of their mouth, it's creating safety for your prospect. And those filler phrases that I've described, they completely actually break safety. They tell the other person, hey, I'm not so comfortable sitting here with you in the silence. I need to fill the space. The best salespeople, the ones that are seasoned, they don't try to sound trustworthy. They embody trustworthiness. They just are trustworthy, right? And then there's tying back to the words that you hear them say. So instead of reaching for a filler phrase, tie back into something that your prospect has already told you. For example, instead of saying, hey, honestly, it sounds like you're overwhelmed, you could say something along the lines of, hey, you mentioned earlier you've been feeling stretched thin. It sounds like that's starting to take a toll. Am I right? See the difference? It's presence. It's being present with your prospect. That creates trustworthiness. So getting really practical just for a minute here, there's a few word swaps that you can make. A few really easy swaps that you can start and you can take and you can make on your next discovery call. Instead of saying the word honestly or to be honest, fill that with, hey, here's what I'm seeing. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, but... See, that's neutral, that's grounded, that's simple, right? Instead of saying, hey, I'm just checking in, or hey, I'm following up with you. Hey, Joan, I've been thinking about what you said last week. That's personal. It shows memory. It shows cognition. It shows that you care. Instead of saying, to be transparent with you, hey, can I just give you the full picture here of what I'm hearing? There's confidence. There's no confession needed. Transparent, right? Maybe this was a good one. At the end of the day, you've heard people say that. Hey, at the end of the day, here's what mattered. No. Maybe just go in straight towards it. Hey, what matters to you the most here? Can I ask you? This brings focus instead of some sales cliche, right? And each of these replacements replaces a performance phase with a presence phase. And that's really the heart of this sales philosophy. Your presence does the convincing. You don't have to prove honesty, like I said earlier. You just are it. Like, think about salt and cooking. The other night, I made this is rare for me. I do not enjoy stuffed chicken breast. I just think it's a thing of the 90s, like chicken Florent, like all that stuff, just pinwheels and stuff with ham and cheese. Just leave it behind. I don't need it. But Haley, my beautiful bride, loves it. And so the other night I wanted to make her stuffed chicken breast because she loves it. And I wrapped it up in bacon and I stuffed it and I seared it on a cast iron and I threw it into the oven. I salted as I went. You see, if I had just dumped salt on it after it was cooked, it could be the same amount of salt, but it would be disgusting. You season as you go. And that's just it here. If you don't take anything else away, if you don't swap these filler words, if you just take one thing away from today, use it as this, every sentence, every pause, every phrase, these are all opportunities to layer trusts slowly until that whole conversation tastes right to them. Right? So a little challenge for you this week. If you're thinking, man, I do this all the time. I use the filler words. Man, I'm using that language on every call. I say, hey, to be honest with you, I use it all the time. Here's your challenge. Go back and re-listen to maybe one of your recent calls. You could grab a notebook and you can jot down some of those filler phrases. Jot them down. Now ask yourself, what emotion or what moment triggers those phrases? And what emotion am I like hiding from or steering away from? Maybe you're nervous. Maybe you're uncomfortable. I don't know. Ask yourself these things. And then leverage some of the replacements that I mentioned in today's. Write down what you're saying versus what you want to be saying. It's simple, but it's really powerful. Because I don't want you to be persuasive. I want you to be present on these conversations. The goal is not persuasion. It's to sit with them. It's to listen to them. It's to be with them on these calls. Okay? So, words that kill credibility. Say these instead. The silent killers of your calls. They're happening right now. Swap them out. Sprinkle this onto your next discovery call, and I will see you on the next episode.
All right, you just listened to the High Ticket Review. And by the way, this podcast is completely supported by you, a high ticket closer, business owner, or salesperson. So make sure to smash that subscribe button to close higher dollar deals faster. And don't forget, go implement what you heard today. Opportunity is right around the bend on the other end of every single call that you take. See you next time.